The stage, John Gardner.
Thank you very much. Hi there, everybody. Thanks for staying to the end. Appreciate it. Good crowd. My name's John. My day job is I'm an architect, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something else that I just was doing for myself. There's no deep meaning to it or message, but a lot of people internationally got kind of excited about it. So I've been asked to share that with you. And it's kind of a chill topic. So they liked that I sat down. So let's go. So I'm going to talk about painting on planes. I started flying a lot in 2011. And when I'm on the plane, I don't watch TV and sleep, I paint. And this first image is probably the first one. It was a transatlantic flight from Boston to Amsterdam. And I did the whole thing on the flight. The reason I started is because I have a sketchbook series. The bag in the bottom left is here. I carry it with me everywhere with watercolor paints. And I started when I was in design school 40 years ago. And then 20 years ago, I committed myself to sketching. So I sketched all the time. And that means that when I'm on a plane, I just started sketching there as well, which is kind of a nice place because you're not distracted, but it's a pretty limited environment. And generally, when you're painting or drawing, you choose something pretty, and this is not generally accepted to be pretty, and it's very constrained, and it's gray, and it's blue, but I just started doing it. What was interesting is that then you start seeing certain things. So the top of this image is actually the inside of a plane. I end up usually collaging things, looking out the window for details, sitting in the departure lounge, sometimes drawing the people that are next to me. And painting while I do it. Now, painting on planes actually started in September last year when I was teaching an advanced architecture studio at RISD, and I showed the students my sketchbooks, and they said, "Are you online?" And of course I'm not. So they said, "Go on Instagram," and I threw it up there, and that's basically when a very private thing became public. I also noticed that on CNN Travel, Francesca Street, who's a reporter, was doing a series of a flight attendant that was taking pictures. So I sent her the pictures. I said, "Are you interested?" And 2 weeks later, she did on CNN Travel one of their pieces, which showed all the pieces. You can see it online still. So what do? I do a number of things. It's not structured. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I'm looking out the window. This is in Bermuda. I see a beautiful sky, I'm sketching a bit. This one had a lot of drawing in the flight and some post-production. I got interested just in the tarmac and the cloud, and that was kind of it. At the other end of the spectrum, I'm sort of looking right in my lap. These are sad pretzels that American Airlines gives you. So they're on my sketchbook, and I'm drawing them, and I'm eating them, and I'm trying not to get the paint on the pretzels that I'm then eating because they're in the way of the drawing that I'm doing. But it actually ended up being a pretty cool exercise. That was done on the plane. This is JetBlue with the JetBlue Terra Blues. And then I had the view out the window of the wing, and then I went into sort of fantasy mode trying to draw it because I'm an architect. I did a section of the plane, with me sitting in the chair. And again, I'm just sort of collaging this all together. I don't really predetermine what I'm going to do when I'm on it. This is a very involved one. I got involved in flight paths and the flight attendant, and my paint box, which my friend who's head of RISD's architecture department said, turn that into a building. So this was probably one of the more elaborate ones. I went through a phase of, and this is 2 pages in the book, through the seam. I went through a phase of doing these. This was one of the last ones on JetBlue. I drew the 2 passengers, I drew the dots, and collaged that over it, and then I ended up doing an illustration of maybe what it was like with the plane in the top left on a cloudy day, and I was like, okay, well, that was kind of a fun drawing. This was a different, sort of denser kind of approach. I don't know if you can see it, but the bottom is the view of the airport at the departure lounge. The next one is in the next airport in the departure lounge, and the last one is the flight that followed after that. Hang on for the rain, guys. Okay, and so that brought it all together, and that was probably one of the last of the deeper ones. I also get obsessed. I'm completely obsessed with the curtain on American Airlines as an architect. It's like, it's not a door. What's it doing? It's sort of dividing us. So I've drawn so many curtains in so many ways. I had to stop, because it was just a little obsessive and insane. But that's what some artists do. Now, what I do is not world class. But Cézanne painted Mont Saint-Victoire when he was in Aix-en-Provence. Jennifer Bartlett stayed for a month in a villa and did a whole series of just looking out the window of the pool. So there's sort of a bit of an intellectual side of just examining the same view and doing it over and over again. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm sitting in there and the girl in front of me, who I never meet, has this amazing blonde top knot. So I just drill right into this blonde top knot, pick up the flight attendant in the distance, the little bit of graphics, that are floating around, and the thing gets knocked out in one flight, and I don't plan on it. Sometimes I'm stuck. I'm like, oh God, okay. So I look down on my feet and I start drawing the carpet and the edge of the book. And then sometimes I'll do that on the next flight. I'll do a similar drawing the same way. Sometimes the pen bleeds. So if you look closely, it's like this giant tarantula of blackness, which sort of ended up becoming part of the thing. So none of these are precious. Ultimately, what I found was I got to meet people. I got to draw people. Here are passenger victims who have no idea that I'm sketching them, and it worked out nicely. But the flight attendant, the flight leader, Kimberly, I said, can I take a picture of the front of your uniform because you've got these cool things sticking on it? She said, absolutely, and drew that. I also do quite a series of flight attendants. I'm not creeping on them. I've only had one bad experience, and I got that sorted out 2 flights later. There's one guy who's super excited. When he does layovers, he wraps himself up in all the sheets. He's just amazingly gay. It's fantastic, and he loves it. And this is Alexandra from a week and a half ago on a flight up. And so you see a picture of her seeing her sketch, and it's very rewarding just to meet them all. And I have a lot of respect for flight attendants who actually have a pretty mundane job, and then when they see you painting, it's like they've never seen anybody else do it. So you can go see the show, actually, at the Society of Arts. It's a coincidence. There's 80 of them on the wall. They tend to fall off at night, so if you show up early, they might not look so cool. And it's on Instagram at #PaintingOnPlanes. Enjoy. Thanks for staying. We just made it.
Yeah, so...
we don't have to do questions if you're worried. I'm fine.